when we create value, we already are in the act of negotiating. But I'm going to train you on how to create more value versus lowering the price. Lowering the price is one aspect to making a transaction work, but a much better avenue would be to increase the value in the client's mind. How you can be the greatest salesperson on the planet.
Welcome to the Rethink Sales Show. My name is Derek Kelly. I am joined by Jim Shorkey. And Jim, often people can be missing out on deals and closings because they're not sure how to negotiate. We've seen this question come up in some of our comments. What are your suggestions on negotiation? What does that look like? Or do you even consider it? Talk through that process.
I don't understand your question. You mean the salespeople can't negotiate or the customer can't negotiate?
The salespeople.
The bottom line is, number one, we're going to build as much value as we can through the process. So now we're in front of the client presenting the price. So we've got to present the price with a great deal of confidence and enthusiasm and energy. And if the customer objects, the client objects to the price, then...
Which you said they often do?
They mostly do, yeah, of course. That's the automatic reaction is, oh, it's too high. And I'm not going to panic over that. I'm actually surprised. Too high, really? Boy, to me, this is a great deal. Can you please tell me what you don't like about the price? They're going to have to answer that question. I'm not going to answer it for them. I think my trade's worth more money. I respect that, and I think that's certainly your right to think that. What do you think your trade is worth? And they're going to tell me whatever. And so from what I understand about the way my boss presents the numbers, I think that you're probably really high at this point. I'll do the best I can, but I think you're high. We would not want to quote you a price that we're that much higher on. So I'll see if there's any wiggle room, and I'll look into that. But just a quick thought. How are you arriving at this offer or this trade value? How are you coming up with that number? And I want them to answer that. So typically they'll tell me something.
Yeah, what if they tell you? Like Kelly Blue Book. It's usually
could be any number of things. Yep. My dad told me it was worth that much. Okay. And who knows? I don't know until I ask. When the client makes us an offer, we have to be prepared to diminish the offer, okay? And to really think in terms of, let's just role play. So you told me, I gave you $5,000 for your trade. And you tell me what.
Oh, Jim, Kelly Blue Book says my Hyundai Elantra is worth $6,500.
Really? Wow, I'm surprised to hear that. Because when we quote numbers, we want to quote you the very best we can right up front. I think I told you that from the beginning. So the fact that we're off $100, okay, I understand it, but $1,500, that's surprising to me. So you're saying Kelly Blue Book is telling you that. Can you show me that?
Yeah. So here it is. I think this is saying if I sell it privately, it might be worth $65.
Okay, but you're not selling it privately, Derek.
Yeah,
you're selling it to me.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're in the resale business. So what a private individual is going to get, what a private individual is going to give you for your car, and what we're going to give you is not the same. Whatever the private individual is going to give you for the car, that's tendency is we're going to sell it for that. So we can't sell it and lose money or not make any money. If we're going to invest in your trade, we're going to have to sell the trade for beyond what we give you for it.
So should I just not trade it in then and just sell it myself?
I just don't think you're being realistic. That's all. So let me ask you this question. So you're saying 65, we're saying 5, correct?
Uh-huh.
Is there a realistic number that you would take for the car that I could present to my boss?
I think 5,500.
Okay, let me go to work on it. If I can get you the 55, can we have a firm agreement today?
I think if that would help with the price of the overall vehicle, yes. In the sense of, I think if we could come down a little bit on the price of the vehicle and a little bit up on the trade-in.
I understand the price that we have on the vehicle is bottom line. So we're strictly talking about the trade-in value here. Mm-hmm. And regardless, at the end of the day, whatever that trade-in value is, that's going to lower the amount of money that comes out of your pocket. So you see the price of the car. It's $15,000, $20,000, whatever. So it's $20,000. And right now we're giving you $5,000 for your trade for a difference of $15,000. Mm-hmm. And so that number 15,000 right now is edged in stone, so to speak. So if we gave you $500 more for your trade-in, that would make that number 14.5.
Yeah, that'd be close. I think if there were another, maybe you have any incentives or any bonuses to maybe knock another $500 off of that. If we were there, I could make it.
I don't know if I understand your question, but like I said, the price of the car is the bottom line with all the incentives and rebates and whatnot figured in. In that respect, that is the bottom line, meaning it's not going to be any lower than what
Right. There's no extra dealer markups or extra fees in the price.
Yeah, there are. You have them. They're in that price. We've already used all that different stuff to get this price down to where it's at right now. So that's bottom line. But let's not get too caught up in that. So what you're implying is that if the bottom line deal was $500 better than it is presently, whether that comes from a $100 incentive or $100 in your trade value, whatever the case may be, is that what you're driving at?
Yep.
So in other words, if I can get the price down to 14.5, we would have a firm commitment and a agreement/deal.
Yep.
Can we shake on that?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to shake us. I just had a call. All right. Let me go see what I can do.
All
and
right.
do you think I'm going to give you a $500 better deal?
I think you're going to get close.
I'm going to come back with a $100 better deal. Because part of the process of negotiating is convincing you. Let me ask you, so let's think about it. Let's think outside the box. So I come back and say, "Hey, great news, talk to the boss." He says, "We got a deal." Wouldn't you all of a sudden think, "Oh my God, I didn't ask long enough"?
I actually was in a situation like this, and I just, because they were doing what you're talking about, where every time I asked, they'd keep changing the price. I was like, so my wife and I sat there till 11 p.m.
Yeah.
one time.
And we
because
don't want to do that. But I would probably come back with something in between those two
Right.
numbers. Say, I talked to the boss. I worked my butt off. I can't give you a $500
Right.
better deal, Derek. It's just not in the cards. But what I can do is I can take the price down to 14.8. Bottom line, best shot.
You know me, Jim. I like to negotiate. Knock $50 off and we'll have a deal.
I don't have the authority to do that. But hold on, I'm not going to leave again. I'm going to call the boss right now on his phone. And so here's, hey, Joe, this is Jim down here. I'm sitting here with Derek. This guy's tougher than nails, I'll tell you what. He's really banging me up down here. And let me ask you a question. Can I get $50 more, lowering the price, another $50? And Derek assures me
We'll have a deal.
we have a deal, right?
Yep.
Okay. Can I get $50 more? I know that, but this guy's tougher than nails. He wants $50 more. Come on. I've done the best I can. I need this $50. Okay. Thank you so much. You're the best. We got it. We're done.
Let's do it.
But see, the idea of the negotiating, though, is I have to convince you that you're getting a good deal.
Yeah, that's true. Because when I told you about that experience of us being there late, it's because every time I asked, they came down in price. So it was like,
Yeah, but
I'm just going to keep asking.
But the essence of giving you a good deal is that first segment, which is building the value so high that whatever we can get from there is just pure bonus. Does that make sense? So how high did we make that value? We want the value we control, and the value that we control in the transaction is infinitesimal. The price we have very little control over that. We really don't. There's not a lot of room
it's
there.
the manufacturer sets the price,
We
right?
do have room to negotiate the value. And so I didn't do this because I'm a little rusty, but in the process of presenting my numbers, I probably would have pulled out that sheet of paper that we fed out earlier. Derek, let's not forget, we did cover these 10 points that you said were really important to you. And so the price is a little higher than what you want it to be, but look at what you're getting for your money. And so I probably, before I even asked you for an offer, I probably would bring that up, discuss it in detail, and say, now, come on, Gary, let's just go ahead and do it. I did everything right. Maybe the price isn't perfect, but that $500 translates into roughly $10 a month in your payment. Not even. Can we have an agreement?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm going to negotiate the value versus the price. And I want to negotiate that value up as high as I can. And I've done that because I asked the right questions. I did the job the right way. I transferred the enthusiasm. You can see the car in your mind's eye right now. You love the car. You drove the car. And so it's a little higher than what you wanted. I agree. But we are definitely on the money here.
Yeah.
And you might say, I still want a $500 better deal. All right, Derek, let me see what I can do. And I know that we're going to do a transaction here because I'm going to come back and get some wiggle room going, but I'm not going to do the $500. I'm not. I probably would involve the manager, whoever that would be, to make the final effort. If I can't get it done for what he suggests when I went to talk to him, then I'll probably call him in and say, hey, maybe you can have a conversation with Derek, see what you think. But I've done my best, boss. Done my best.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. I think that's so good because you're talking about how to negotiate well without just lower price, lower price, lower price. Because it happens in my line of work too with marketing, and people say, "Oh, I want a website for this price," or "I want this." It's
Yeah, me too.
yeah, great.
Yeah, me too. But I can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah, I'd like it to be that low as well. I really would, but I can't do it.
Right.
Now, what I can do is this website. You said these 5 things were really important to you. Which of those 5 are you willing to give up to get this price down? See, I'm thinking as I go here. I'm rusty.
Yeah.
So we have less expensive
And they may
ones
pick
out there.
one. They may say, "Hey, I don't really need this thing."
These are the 5 things that you said you really wanted that are on it, but we have them up there without these 5 things. Which of these 5 things are you willing to give up to get this price lower? Let's put it on the client. Let's skip the wheels. I can switch the wheels. That'll get us there. But I love those wheels. I do too. But you want to get the price down or you want the wheels?
Right. Yeah. Because they could lower the price by
So
going
what do
down.
you want? You
They
want
could go down a trim model.
You want
right?
to get the price down or do you want to keep the wheels? You tell me. We're role playing right now.
I think let's go down to the trim below this level.
Okay.
You're at the max trim. Let's go down a trim level.
Okay. Then we got a deal because I can do that.
Yep. Great.
What did I give up? What did I give up as a salesman?
Very
Nothing.
little. Yeah. Very little.
I didn't give up anything because we just took stuff out of the car. So
Right.
when you're doing the websites, that one thing you really liked, that's
We've had to
getting
tell
it on
people-
there would be enough
Yeah.
to get the price where you want it to be. So how about we do that? We'll do that. Okay. Then what do you want to do?
Yeah, we've told people to say, "Oh, I want an e-commerce aspect." Hey, if you want, that's this price. If you just want a normal website without all the e-commerce, and because then you got to do credit cards and payments and process, it gets
Can't we
complicated.
do the same thing on the showroom floor though? It's the same thing. Sales is sales. So let's put it on the client. They're the ones that want the better price. What are you willing to give up to get to this better price? I'm not willing to give up anything. Then let's just do business then, because I've done everything the way you asked me to do it. I've got all these great things based on what you told me was important to you. And so it's a little higher. I always say that. It's a little higher than what you wanted, but it's not crazy higher. It's $10 a month. Now, isn't it worth it to you to spend that extra $10 a month to get the car of your dreams versus settling?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, yeah.
Let's do it.
Great.
My first shot is to be unyielding. And then if that's not working, then I'm going to go talk to the boss. So the negotiating of it is I'm going to negotiate value up versus price down. Value up versus price down. If this is the price and this is the value, I have a no sell. So what if I get the value like that? You see the difference? So the value is higher than the price. Becomes a no-brainer.
Yeah. This is good.
Come on, Derek. I saw you drive the car. You had a smile on your face. I saw it. It was bigger than Route 30. You love this car. You know you do.
Yeah.
So why settle? Let's spend the extra money to get the car that you really want.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's not that much money.
Jim, thank you for just sharing these great negotiation techniques. I think so many people can get stuck on, what do I say? If they say X, do I say Y? If they say Z, do I say A? If they say B, do I say D?
Come back with
Right.
value. Come back with a value proposition. We've already hopefully covered that, so we just have to go over the list.
Yep.
I know, and I don't care if we're $2,000 apart. You know what I'm gonna say? The same exact thing. Hey, Derek, I understand it's a little higher than what you thought. I understand that, but look at what you're getting. Here's my list. You and I went over this, so it's a little higher. That $2,000 that we're talking about here, that translates into roughly $40 a month. So it's a little higher, but isn't it worth an extra $40 a month? Okay, $10 a week to get this car that you had a smile as wide as Route 30 on when you were driving the thing. How do you like this car?
It's great. It's got the heated seats. It's got the heated steering wheel. It's got the sunroof. It'd be comfortable to ride in for me and my family.
Is that $40 really that cumbersome for you? Or if it is, tell me.
No, I think I have it in my budget.
Let's go ahead and do it then.
All right, let's do it. Jim, thank you. Thank you for just
pleasure.
thank you for role playing with me, but ultimately thank you for talking through. I think places where people get hung up because they don't want to come across too pushy or too rude, but they also don't want to just give in. Oh, because could you imagine a salesperson saying, "Oh, I'll go get that deal done for you, Jim"?
Yeah.
That
Well,
would be like,
But they don't have the authority to even do that. But
yeah.
you hear this common conversation in the car business, and probably any business, price sells cars. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Salespeople sell cars, and they sell cars by creating value. Price does not sell cars. If somebody's preaching that to you today in your business, run, because it's not true. If price sells cars, guess what we don't need?
Salespeople.
We don't need salespeople. And I love my sales team. If price sells cars, we don't need salespeople, because all we do is put a price on the window and it's going to sell. Somebody's got to create the value. Somebody's got to create the value. And that's what the salespeople do. And we got to train more and keep training on how can we present our merchandise to create the most value possible in the client's mind. And that's how we're going to close more deals.
Thank you, Jim.
Pleasure.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you on the next episode. All right, do an intro about negotiation. I usually give you more than that, but I feel like that was good.
Shorkey here. I am a sales trainer. I train people how to sell cars. And my training involves selling value, creating value, excuse me. So when we talk about negotiating, when we create value, we already are in the act of negotiating. But I'm going to train you on how to create more value versus lowering the price. Lowering the price is one aspect to making a transaction work, but a much better avenue would be to increase the value in the client's mind. So we're going to train you how to ask the right questions, how to get the right flair in terms of what really matters to the client. And then we're going to present our product around what we've addressed with the client. And in the process of doing that, we're going to create so much value. We're going to become very attractive. Our car's going to become very attractive. Our dealership's going to become very attractive. And we're going to sell more cars based on that without necessarily negotiating the price. And if we do a good enough job with what I just said, then the price reductions per se would be minimal at best. Price does not sell cars. Salespeople sell cars. And we train our salespeople on how to create value, not how to lower the price. Thank you.